Hello guys, good morning, good evening, depending on where you are. Most of you already know me. I'm Alessia. I'm a client manager from Consulting Masters. Unfortunately, today it will be our last webinar in 2021. But the good news are that in upcoming year, in 2022, we return back with more interesting webinars, more helpful. So please follow our news, register yourself at our website for the new webinars and stay with us. Today at our last webinar, we're going to know how to get an offer from MBB and solve a market sizing case with our amazing coaches, Andrea Homulenko and Gaurav Bhosle. And also very welcome our candidate, Rishi. Before we're going to start this webinar, guys, of course, I would like to wish you Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. And it's a very wonderful time of this year. And I hope, guys, that you spend these holidays with your family, with your friends, and people you simply love. And this time energize you for the new year, for more hardworking, for more successfully solved cases. And it will lead you to receive the offer from the leading consulting company, right? I think we're going to start this webinar, right? And now let me introduce experts of Consulting Masters. So first of them, Andrea Homolenko, and he is a CEO of the company. So Andrea has more than 7 of international consulting experience, more than 30 successfully completed projects in more than 10 countries across the globe. And since 2014, Andrea has been coaching his mentees to help them receive offers. And now let's move on to Gaurav Bhosle. He is a chief coach. So Gaurav, he's an ex-McKinsey and full-time career coach since 2013. And more than 500 clients coached by Gaurav already work in top consulting firms, including more than 200 clients currently working at MBB. And last but not least, Mark Allers. He's a senior coach of Consulting Masters. So Mark is an engagement manager at Kearney, and more than 38 mentees from Oxford, Cambridge, IE, and other universities coached by Mark already received consulting offers. So guys, now I just introduced our professionals, our experts, our coaches, and with their help, you will definitely receive the offer from the top leading consulting firm, because they are not just ex-consultants and not just the coach, they were also part of the recruitment team. So they know the whole process from the beginning to the end. So please listen to them attentively. And now, guys, I'm very excited about this webinar. I hope that you as well. And let me pass the word to Andrea.
Hello, Alessia. Hi, everyone. Alessia, first of all, thank you so much for your very brilliant introduction. I'm so anxious about your Christmas tree, which you have behind on you. Such a lovely picture. I wish I could have very similar tree. It looks like really lovely. So, ladies and gentlemen, very warm welcome also from my side to the last webinar in this year. And Merry Christmas to you. I'm actually very much excited to get to know you better as a person. Hi, Rishi. And you again are very courageous to be the candidate for that case that we have in mind with you. I think I could really tell you a lot about our clients because we've helped 582 people already to get into consulting, and I'm very happy that one of our mentees, her name is Ashwarya Sharma, and maybe some of you have seen her into our webinars recently. She was playing in a personal fit candidate. So this week on Monday, she made a very great gift to the entire community, and first of all to herself. So she received her senior consultant offer. So she's our 582nd candidate whom we placed into consulting. Bingo, very nice hat. Just keep it as it is. Yeah. And instead of telling you about the stories of Edward or Fernando, I just want to give them the opportunity to speak for themselves. So that enjoy the show and get to know our clients and what do they say about the services.
Hello, Hello, my name's Edward. I had absolutely no experience in consulting. I had never applied to any consulting firm, so I didn't understand the consulting application process. So Andre immediately came up with an intense program where we were working every day. So in the end, I was successful in my senior consultant and partner interviews and was actually offered the internship at Roland Berger. I'm beyond excited and happy. It's an incredible opportunity, and I can say without the benefit of a doubt that Andre and Consulting Masters were a vital part to my success. I do not think it would have been possible without them. I really cannot recommend Andre and Consulting Masters, the company, enough. They truly care about your success and they utilize all possible resources to ensure that you do succeed and that you do get that offer. You do have that business knowledge or you've already done some consulting interviews, etc. Andre will get you to that point where you're significantly increasing your chances of success. I mean, I cannot recommend it enough. To Andre and Consulting Masters, just a huge thank you for your help, your support throughout the entire process. I couldn't have done it without you guys, and thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for sharing. You know what is so interesting about Edward is that he actually approached me just 9 days before his interview date, and he was at completely zero level. I mean, he had background in political science. He had nothing to do with economics or business, and his knowledge about consulting was very limited. And he absolutely had no knowledge about the case parts or the personal fit part of the interview. And I mean, it was really tremendous what we were able to achieve through hard work and dedication in the 7 days of the preparation, which we used to have. And now, last month, he joined Roland Berger in Dubai. And I also want to share with you another inspiring story of another mate of Fernando Lapadula. Basically, Fernando is also a friend of Rishin, and Rishin is sitting here on his recommendation. So yeah, let's pick Fernando himself.
My name is Fernando. I am a recent VIP program graduate and an incoming McKinsey consultant. When I met Andrea, I was working full-time in a job. I actually wanted to go into consulting, but I couldn't make it because of the COVID, because of my lack of preparation, because of whatever. But I had three main problems. I had no more network. I had no expert advice or coaching. It was difficult to find good information how the process was for each one of the companies that I wanted to apply to. In their program, I learned a lot about the case to master the stress during an interview, how to master the case, and to prepare very well and very specific points about the fit. If you have any of the pain points that I have, I really recommend you to join. The return on investment is totally worth it. You will not only get the offer, but you will also have this long-term valuable relationship to take the next step and join the group. Thank you.
Yeah, Fernando, he joined McKinsey Panama just last month. He also had his many doubts, but he participated in our webinars pretty actively in the past, and it helped him also to train his emotional resilience. So if you also want to become like Edward or Fernando, just do your very first step today and book a meeting with Alessia through the link which is shared in the chat right now. Just simply click on this calendar link and pick up the slot which works best for you. And Alessia and other team members of our team are more than glad to help you and to assist you and to make 2022 a year of great progress in your career and help you to receive the interview invites in consulting and also to crack them and to nail them up to the offer. So we are here to help you and to serve you. All right, cool. So I have a special gift for you for today because in our today's simulation, we will be simulating the case, which is a real life case, which is given by one of the leading consulting firms. And this case is coming frequently. Even though I shared the presentation with Rishin, he didn't want to watch it beforehand, so it will be a small surprise for him nevertheless. So, and you will see whether he can make it or not. But before we go into that case, I actually want to give you just a few pieces of advice of how to solve the cases which you might be facing with all major consulting firms, specifically market sizing type of the cases, MBB firms. So there are basically 5 simple steps of how you could crack this kind of case. The first and the most important one is to paraphrase the case question. So you first need to really make sure that you understand that case question. What exactly you are expected to do. And in order to do so, please ask 2 or 3 clarifying questions. There is no need to progress immediately to outlining the structure of the case if you haven't understood the case objectives in all the details, because otherwise you will fail. Only after you have received the answers to your clarifying questions, only then take a moment of time to structure your thoughts, outline the structure, align it with your interviewer. And then you can start cracking your case. Simply do the step number 4 by making your assumptions, validating them with an interviewer, and proceed. And only afterwards you come to the calculations, not before. Don't try to solve market sizing case already within the first 2 minutes and come up with an answer to the interviewer. This is not what you are expected to do. Take your time, structure your approach, present it to the interviewer, align it with him, vision. These are the detailed instructions for you. And only then proceed with the calculations after the interviewer is okay with that. And then you're coming to the final recommendation, which is the number. And then you need to justify it. Basically, after you came up with a certain number, try to validate it, whether it makes sense to you or to others through different means, and then do the final recommendation. These are basically the instructions on how to solve those type of cases. And later on, we will be also instructing you. You will see how to do this. But before we jump into that, I want to raise your attention that when I used to be an interviewer for the candidates, most of the candidates have failed their interviews and were rejected due to these 5 most common mistakes, which everyone is doing. First of all, people are not ready for the personal fit part of the interview. And that's why they are already stressed out in the first part of the interview. Even before they come to the case, they're not very well prepared. And it's their performance sucks due to that point. Secondly, they don't follow the process of the case solving. So those 5 steps which I outlined to you before, not everyone is following them. Specifically, many people tend to jump already to outlining the approach, even without paraphrasing the case question, even without asking clarifying questions. That's why they don't understand what is expected to be done in that case. And if they are wrong about the initial point and where or what kind of objectives they need to achieve, then they already lose it. And that's results in their structure being not comprehensive and not exhaustive enough, which is not good enough. So they have already all the prerequisites to fail and to bump the case and the interview. And then last but not least, so many people are relying on the interview-led the interview. This could be partly true for McKinsey, where most of the cases are interviewer-led, but in all other firms, the cases are candidates-led. So you need to be in charge. I mean, you are acting as a consultant and you need to lead those kind of interviews. That's why if you fail to prepare, you are actually prepared to fail, unfortunately. And that's why 9 out of 10 candidates who are coming to the interview will go with a rejection at home. And only 1 out of 10 will receive an offer. That's the truth of the life, so to say. Are you clear with that? Did you get it so far? Does it resonate with you? Just give me, please, some feedback so that I could also see it from you there. Okay, let's basically proceed already to the next part, and let's start with a simulation right now so that you could see it also in how is it working. Alessa, I pass the word to you.
Thank you, Andrei. Thank you for your introduction. Guys, I hope that you remember everything that Andrea shared with you, because these 5 mistakes and tips to you is very important, everything important during the interview. And now please listen attentively, because simulation starts now. And also please turn off your cameras now. After that, we again ask you to turn your cameras, but now, the simulation will start. And please also try to solve this case with the machine and share your feedback with us in the Zoom chat, and also ask your questions into the Zoom chat. So we're going to follow the same path. Okay. So Andrei, now I pass the word to you.
Thank you. Guys, I just have one last request before we start with the simulation. Can you please cheer up Rishi and help him, give him some braveness to perform in front of the audience whom he barely knows?
Rishi, you're the best. You're going to do great.
Machine, you can do that.
All right, then thank you very much, everyone. And now let's start with the simulation. So, Rushin, today my name will be Frank Mattress. I will be senior manager from Bain & Company, let's say in the Middle East where you are currently applying. And let's start with a case simulation. I will be directly jumping into it. Okay?
Perfect.
Hello, Rushin. How are you doing today?
Doing good, Frank. How are you doing?
Yeah, thank you very much. You know, Rushin, I still have a one-client meeting. That's why I want to fix it before the Christmas and before having a break. Why? Can we maybe directly jump with you into the case?
Sure, let's do it.
Okay. I have a following question to you. Could you please estimate what is the market size for bed mattresses in Dubai?
So, if I understand you correctly, Frank, I have to estimate the market size of bed mattresses in Dubai only, right? So, just to understand, when we say we need to size the market, we need to size in terms of number of mattresses, or is it like market size in terms of dollar value?
Oh, that's a very good question. First of all, let's probably start with the number of bed mattresses, and then we can also put it into the money value.
Okay, perfect.
Any other questions?
Yes. So when we say the market size of bed mattresses, does it include everything like commercial, like the hotels and households, or is it specifically?
Yes.
What?
That's very good. And if you're already thinking about it, I have a counter question to you. So what do you think how this market could be segmented?
Let me think. So if I think about broad structures, I will think about first thinking separately for the commercial and then thinking separately for the households. In terms of households, I will think about dividing by the number of populations and then trying to find out how many households, how many people per household, and this will give me a rough idea about the number of beds are there. This is in household. And in commercial, what I will try to think about is the number of hotels per number of people. Does it make sense?
What else can you think about in terms of commercials?
Okay. So the commercial, what I understand, Frank, is that what I have done till now is only about the hotels. And you want me to think anything other than the hotels that is included in the commercial, is it?
Yes.
I can think about hospitals as another one. So that will be hospitals. And what else? I can think about where else a bed can be required. Nothing that comes to my mind which will be a significant contributor of bed if I'm not missing something really huge.
All right. No, that's fine. That's fine for now. Yeah. Do you have any further clarifying questions?
One more question. So when we say the bed mattresses, do we have to assume that each mattress is for one single person, or like king size, queen size, like 2 people, 3 people together? Like just because I will be
that's a good question, and basically, yeah, for sure you have bed mattresses for 1 person or for 2 person, or I would say 2+ person.
Okay, and it will be I will give a combined number, right?
Yeah, sure.
Got it. Perfect. I think that will be all in terms of what I need to structure my thought process. Can I take some time to structure it?
Yeah, sure. Please go ahead.
Perfect. So, Andre, before I start trying to estimate it, what I will try to do is try to think about the broad structures that we talk about. So, the broad structure is household and commercial. So, let's first talk you through to the household, and then I will go into the commercial section. Now, before I do this, now that I was creating this structure, something which came up to my mind is that the market size also involves the time. So, should I assume that we will do a market size of the number of mattresses that's in a year period?
For 2021.
For 2021. Got it. So how I will do it is that the first thing which I will do for the household section is the population, and then the number of people in a household, in a single household. And then once I do that, I will get the number of households. Once I get the number of households, I will find out the number of beds in each household, right? And this will include both 1 number of bed or 2 number of bed. I will just get distributed and find a way to distribute it depending upon the number of people in the household. Once I have that, I will try to find out what are the yearly, in how many years a mattress is changed. And then when I divide it by this number, I will get the average number of mattresses that is changed in each over the entire household sector. So does it make sense, this household part? So this is how I will reach the volume part in terms of household.
Okay, household fine, yeah. Hotels.
So in commercial, I'm thinking about hotels and hospitals. Let's talk about the hotels first.
Let's just focus on the hotels first. Yeah.
Okay. So for the hotels, what I will do is that again, the first thing is the population, and then I will try to find out the number of.
Why the population?
Because I'm just thinking what drives the hotels. There can be two things. Mostly, which I can think about is the number of tourists that visit, Dubai. But then I cannot think of a way how I can assume or estimate the number of tourists which is visiting in Dubai. But if you ask me, the right driving factor will be the number of tourists that will be visiting Dubai, and then take a factor of how many of the percentage of this tourists I need to multiply to get the domestic one as well. Does that sound better?
Not 100% clear, but let's basically start with households first, and then let's see whether we can make it so with the commercials as well. So what are your next steps?
So so the next steps, before I think about my assumptions, do we have any data about these metrics that I talked about?
Which data would you like to get specifically?
So, then let's take one step at a time and try to find out which one I have a reasonable understanding and which one will be better if I get a data. Does it sound good?
Yes.
Okay. So, way I did the household was that I started with the population. Let me think. The population of Dubai will be roughly 2 or 3 million. 3 million. Does that sound?
3.6 million people.
Okay, 3.6 million. The number of people in a household, I would say 3 people. Does it sound like about a right assumption? Like, does it make sense?
Probably 2.5.
2.5 households. Okay, perfect. So when I do this, this will give me a rough idea. When I divide these numbers, this will give me the rough idea about the number of households. So can I just take a moment and do this maths?
Just speak out loud.
Perfect. So the way is, it's like the number of households will give me, to find the number of households is basically the number of population by number of people per household. So the population is 3.6 million. 3.6 million, and the number of households is 2.5. The number of people per household is 2.5. To do this maths, what I will do is 3.6 by 5. How does it work out? Is 1.75. So by 0.25 will be by 2. So it's 0.875. So 0.875 million. So or 875,000. This is the number of households. So this is, once I got this number of households, now I will try to think about number of beds that are there in the households, right? So we are talking about 2.5. So a reasonable assumption will be thinking, I'm just trying to think that whether there is a need for a single bed or not. Can we assume that there will be 2 bed and 1 single bed?
There most probably will be like 1.5 beds per household.
Okay, perfect. So it's 1.5 beds per household. Got it. Now, once I get the number of number of beds per household, I can do the maths right now, or I can actually do the entire funnel, and then I will do the maths. Does it sound about right?
Yes, please.
Okay. Now, the next part is 1.5 beds, right? So I'm trying to think about what is the average replacement time for a mattress, and let's say 4 years is it like a 4 or 5 years? Does it sound like a reasonable estimate?
Yeah, it's about 5 years indeed.
Okay, 5 years. So the mattress is changed every 5 years. So every bed for 5 years gets a new mattress. So when I divide it by 5, I will get the number of mattresses every bed required every year. Does it sound about right? Then I will do the math and then try to find out the number of mattresses required. Okay, perfect. So 875,000 is my number of households, and number of beds per household is 1.5 bed. So I will have to multiply 875 into 1.5. So let me do this maths here. This is coming out to be 1,312.5. So I'm just rounding it off to 1,300. So that's 1,300,000. So 1.3 million. Is it okay? Okay.
Yes.
Now this is what I got as the number of beds. Now each bed has like 5 years. So what I will do is that I will divide this 1.3 million by 5 to get the number of mattresses that needs change every year. So this is 1.3 by 5, which is 2.6 by 10. So it's 0.26 million. So in terms of, So what I did is that what I found out that there are 1.3 million beds overall. So if it's 1.3 million beds and each requires a change of mattress every 5 years, then in 1 year, 1/5 of it will undergo a change. So I'm trying to understand the number of mattresses in terms of.
So what will be the replacement rate, right?
Yes. So that is.
What is the number that you came with?
This is 1.3 by 5. That is 0.26 million. So 260,000 units.
Okay. Yeah, that's precisely.
Okay. Now, just before I move on, I'm just trying to think, does it really make sense? So 260,000 out of a number of household of 3.6 million. Let me think.
Not number of households, it's number of population.
Okay, let's do it with the number of population. Okay, so it's 260K by 3600K. I'm just trying to understand what percentage does it come. So it's 26 by 360. Let's say 25 by 350. This will be 5 by 70 or 1 by 14. That's 7%. 7% of the population size will have it. This sounds to me, it sounds like it is a reasonable estimate that 7% of the population, the size of the population is the number of mattresses that we sell. So, which actually tells me that every 14 or 15 years, every 14 or 15% buys a new mattress. So this addresses the first part of the problem.
What else do you need to take into consideration with that segment?
Within this segment, if I have to think about what else, I can think about whether everyone will be buying a mattress or not. But then considering it's Dubai, the affordability and accessibility will be there as 100%. Considering Dubai of 2021. So is this a reasonable estimate? Like thinking about everyone will have access to it.
Sure. Anything else?
Anything else is we are thinking about a population which is in 2021 only. We have the population of 3.6 million, which is in 2021. So I don't need to consider anything which is a growth rate.
Yes, the growth rate would be also one of the aspects which you will probably need to consider, given the fact that it's growing actually 7% from year on year, and is aiming to be doubling in the next 20 years.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Okay. All right, sounds good. So Rishi, now let's basically jump into the commercial part and specifically on the hotels. I just want to estimate I just want to understand what kind of data and how would you use it to get to the number of mattresses for hotels.
The number of tourists that visits Dubai, the average number of the ratio of domestic to tourists who actually use the hotels, and average size of the number of beds in each hotel. Like bed is number of beds doesn't matter. So what it will give me is that, let's say if 10 million, I'm just giving a number, like 10 million are total
12 million this year due to, I think that this year and next year we're having Dubai Expo. So there will be like 12 million of visitors, both tourists and business visitors in that time frame.
Okay. And will it be reasonable to assume that at 20% or 10% of it, of the total visitors in a hotel will also be coming from the domestic segment?
Yeah, you can forget about domestic. So let's assume for simplicity that they all will stay in hotels.
Got it. So there are 12 million tourists. And now next step, which I will do is average, let me take just here. For assumption's sake, I'm just assuming that the hotels usually don't come with a single bed. So I will consider that each one will have a single mattress usage. And it's not a single bed usage, it's not a mattress usage. So basically in over a year, I'm just thinking that total number of beds, and this will be repetition of the beds, will be 12 million. That is 12 million number of beds. Once I have that, let me, can I take a moment and just
try sure about this?
No, I'm just, but when I said the number of beds, it's like, I'm assuming the repetition as well. Like the same bed will be used by the other person as well. So can I take a moment and try to think about how to segment this part again?
What do you mean by this? Can you just speak out loud so that I can better understand your logic?
So I'm thinking about there are 12 billion people who are visiting. And now I can think about number of days that they stay or...
They stay on average 6 nights.
They stay on an average 6 nights. So...
And you can assume for simplicity 360 days in a year.
Okay.
All right, cool. Then thank you very much, Rishi. I think at this stage, if this was a real interview, you would continue. But for the sake of the webinar, I think that this is more than enough, simply because we actually also want to give our dear webinar visitors a chance to ask questions and to get answers for them. So that's why Frank will pose at this time, and Andre, I will be picking up. Rishi, how did he cope with that case, and what do you think about the case? Would you like to cheer him up again and turn on your cameras?
Good job, Rishi. It's a tough case, and of course, it's going to take some time, but I think you asked the right question at the right time.
The case was good. So most of the market sizing that I've done, it comes as a part of the case, right? And at that point of time, the market sizing is a small portion. Now, which I know that this is a very ad hoc market sizing, I think I struggled a lot in the commercial segment. I couldn't come up with a good lever to define how will I divide the market segment in the commercial segment.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Very cool, actually. I would suggest let us move on, and I'm more than happy to answer all your questions. So feel free now to turn on your cameras and also to basically to ask your questions related to the case, to MBBs, to our services, or whatsoever, whatever you are interested in, into the chat, so that we could answer all of them in the Q&A session, which will be at the very end of our webinar. So now, what you have actually seen was a brief introduction. First of all, we gave you some of the content part on what are the key things which you need to do in the consulting case interviews, specifically in the market sizing. What are the top mistakes? And now you have even seen how the real part, and I really tried to simulate it as real as it possible, so that you also feel a little bit the pressure which is coming to the candidate during the real interview. Now, I want to help you to really understand what stands behind it. And we are also offering help you, especially if you are having your interview invites coming soon and you need to practice and convert them into the job offers, or if you need help with your applications to even receive the interview invites, we're there. And I also on the next page would like to tell you a little bit more about our offering. Yeah, next page, please. So I just want to share with you some very good news that nowadays consulting companies, they woke up. They have been sleeping for 1.5 years during the pandemic, the COVID times, when the recruiting really went down. It was post. There were just a very limited number of candidates that they recruited between, I would say, April 2020 and July 2021. But since August this year, the recruiting has picked up dramatically. And my friends from consulting are contacting and reaching out to me and actually asking for help, because they know that I'm in a coaching, and they really want to get very strong candidates. And that's why you can also use this unique opportunity to join one of our programs. If you are really interested to do so, just please feel free to reach out to Olesa and book a call with her and discuss your specific situation, your challenges, and the way to help you. And we will be very pleased to serve you in the coming year. And on the next page, if you actually still have any doubts, I want to share one more story with you, which actually truly motivates me, because it is from one of the candidates who struggled really a lot before he reached out to us. He was rejected all 2020 during pandemic, and now, let Ahmed speak for himself. Well, what shall I say to you, ladies and gentlemen? If in 2022 you would like to join the Consulting Masters family, then just do the first step already today. Click on the link and book your time slot with Olesa at your favorable time. And then I would be really looking towards to help you to receive a tremendous job offer and to make yourself proud about yourself and about your family being proud about you, and make a great achievement and a great leverage into your career. If you really want to work on the very interesting projects, wear a good suit to your clients around the world, and get a real career leap. And of course, earn more than above average, then it all starts with your decision, with making a first step towards it. And we would be very happy to welcome you on board to our VIP programs in future. So Olesa is in your service. And thank you so much from my side for being with us. This 2021, this has been a pretty challenging and a tough year for many of you. I know it, but I'm extremely happy that even during this pandemic, even during this recession and the whole crazy shit which happened last year and this year, our company, me and myself and our colleagues, we were there for you to help you make your tremendous career leaps.
Thank you, Andrea. Thank you very much for this webinar. Last webinar in 2021. And just from my side, let me just add, guys, maybe you are not ready to start tomorrow, or maybe you're not ready to start in January, but please also book like free call with me. Like it will be just really fast chat, but still we will discuss the further steps. And in new year, you just will know from which part you should start. And so don't hesitate at all. Just book a call with me. You can find the link in the Zoom chat.
Yeah, now let's go to the Q&A session and answer all of your questions, basically. Alessia, can you maybe help us navigating through the questions?
Yeah, sure. So unfortunately, I don't see any questions into the Zoom chat. But guys, maybe you would like to ask them personally. So just raise your hand. We can see it. And you can ask Andrea with your camera open. Okay.
So we see Venki. Can you maybe briefly introduce yourself and ask your question?
Yeah, hi, I'm Venki. I'm a recent graduate based out of India. So my question is, I want to apply for the roles in a European country like Amsterdam, where you have English as a language they consider. So my question is, since me being a recent graduate, will they, consider my application, or they don't sponsor visas in such a situation?
Basically, there is a pretty fair chance to get into Amsterdam, especially into Bain & Company, where also one of our mentees most recently received an offer. So yeah, generally speaking, there are some fair chances to get sponsored to Amsterdam office as well of some of the companies. I know that Strategy and Bain & Company in the Amsterdam office are currently hiring, and we've helped two of our mentees just this month and last month to receive the offers from them. I mean, if you want to figure out more details, just talk to Alessia and we can arrange this and start collaborating together on this way. But we would need to get to know you better as a person. So I cannot give the blank statements that you will make it. I mean, you also need to fulfill some certain prerequisites, and you also need to show a lot of commitment and efforts from your side. So, I mean, it's your career, it's your responsibility, and we are helping you to achieve your goals.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's another question from Jordan. Aren't we going to get this view on solving his view?
Basically, I would say that in that case, Rishin has done the process really smoothly. I was positively surprised as his trainer. I didn't expect from him such a good performance, when I'm honest. So for that first 15 minutes that he had, it was a pass, definitely. We'll see maybe in the second part whether he would be able to crack the hotel segment as good as he was able to navigate the households. I would like to emphasize specifically what Rishin did very well and what are the good things for you to follow as well. So first of all, Rishin paraphrased the case question, and he started asking very good clarifying questions, especially the first one, what is the matrix? Like, do we count it in number of mattresses, or do we estimate the whole market size in the monetary value? Secondly, he was also outlining the structure. He was making it pretty concise, especially on the private sector, on the B2C. He was pretty good in that. On the commercial, it still needs some improvement. But as for his second webinar, and it's probably, 10, case number 10, or Rishin, which number was it for the case solving for him? I think it was pretty good job. And I will, of course, give him more detailed briefing after the webinar. But I think that I hope that you were also able to learn from how he was dealing with that case question.
Thank you, Andrei, for your answer. So we have another question. So thank you very much for inviting us to this webinar. I'm currently a student studying at MIS. My question is, if I decided to delete one of the subjects of this term and postponing these subjects for another term, would that affect the admission to employment when I graduate?
I don't really get that question, so maybe that person could clarify the question a little bit.
Hello? My question is, now I'm studying in my third term in the college, and I'm planning to be a consulting in the future. My question is, now I have 5 subjects in the term. One of the subjects, I have some problem with it, and I have to delete it and postponing the subject to another term, to the next term. Would this process affect me when I apply to the job?
I mean, in order to apply to the job, you need to have a good GPA. If you are now deleting the subject, but then you are able to complete it with a good GPA in the next semester, that shouldn't be a handicap, if I understand your question correctly.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
Okay, that's all. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, too. All right. Alyssa, do we have any questions?
We don't have any questions left.
Right. Then, on behalf of the entire Consulting Masters team, I would like to thank you, each one of you, for joining our webinar tonight. And it was a real great pleasure for me to host all of these webinars during 2021. and seeing how many of our candidates who were playing here in front of the camera for you, having now started to work in consulting. I think it's really exciting and really motivates me and my team. And if you want to become also a part of this successful story, just make your very first step. So reach out to our team and we are more than happy to help you. I want to say thank you for participation and for being with us for this year. I want to wish you and your families Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And I'm looking forward to seeing you in 2022. Take care and all the very best.
Thank you guys. Bye.